Welcome to my channel and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today we are at the First Ward Cemetery. This is a cemetery where there are no headstones, there are no tombstones, there are no mausoleums. This is called the First Ward Cemetery in case you didn't catch it the first time. Let's take a quick gander and see what it looks like. And as you can see, there is no headstones or anything that resembles anything that used to be here as a headstone. In the 1800s, early 1800s to the mid 1800s, this burial was put in place for the people, for the village or the town of Salina during the merging of Salina. During the early part of the 1900s, when this was considered a village of Salina, right up to the time of the merger in 1948, when Ephraim Webster came along in Syracuse. He's the one that helped give Syracuse its name. I do have a video for that, and I will link that below. But and as we are walking around here, we see a lot of trees. Some of them are oak mixed with maybe some different hardwoods. It's a very beautiful park now. In 1849, right up to 1909, people were still being buried here. And at some point, the tombstones were taken out, and nobody has any real information on that. Everything that I tried to find on Google didn't really give me much information, other than in 1948 there was a merger. People were still being buried here right up until 1909. Somewhere around the time of 1920 to 1930, a lot of the tombstones, I believe, were starting to be taken out of here. There was no rhyme or reason to the information I was able to find. It was kind of scatterish. But this cemetery here holds a lot of history. And if there's anybody out there who lives in Syracuse and has any information to this cemetery, I would love to know some more information. But over here, we're going to go to the official sign that states that First Ward Cemetery now is under the care of the Syracuse Parks and Recreation for the area in which the park stands. That tells us only very little. First Ward Cemetery, established in 1829 in the city of Syracuse. The Department of Parks and Recreation. Halfway through the hill, I brought him and his bike, and I got to a part where it was more of a downslide. I gave him the encourageable start, and he took off running, or biking, I should say. This appears to be an apple tree right here, not real sure. We have other visitors over here. The dog over there in the far end of the park. This is also a place where kids come up here to go sledding during the winter time. Over here at the other side of this very small cemetery, it's a hill. It goes right down to the sidewalk, but kids, when there's enough snow, they'll come over here and they'll slide down and they'll put an embankment up on one side and pretend that it's a small ramp. Usually there's an adult out here keeping an eye on kids. If not, there's somebody in one of these houses over here that are always looking out. Right about here is where I put Declan, right here. When Declan first started riding his bike, I set him up right here. I put him on his bike and I pushed him around here a little bit. And he went riding. And he's been riding ever since. They just recently planted these type of trees right here. Unsure of what the purpose of why they would do that other than for stability in the ground, which is not really needed. This land has been sitting there for approximately 120 years. Very stable ground. But as you can see, more and more trees are being planted. And over on this side we have a sidewalk. This little hill right here, kids go about as fast as they can, and they stop right there at the bottom of that curb right there. You don't get to go too fast over here. And as we walk down here, we'll see that there's an official entrance to the First Ward Cemetery. As I said, it's not a very big park. The official entrance for the cemetery. There's an opening up in this hill. I'm not sure if there are stairs there or not. It's been a while since I've been over here. I think I'm gonna climb up right here. Not much of a staircase there.
There was a staircase.
At one point I think there was a staircase.
Oh, lighter down there.
And there's a lighter down there. And here's the official opening for the First Ward Cemetery. On this side it says the same thing. Established 1829 in the city of Syracuse. Prior to it being called Syracuse, it was called the village of Syracuse, and the people that are buried here are people that worked in our local salt mining industry right up until the mid 1800s. In 1849, people came here to work in our salt mines, and when they did, they wanted to stay here for a little bit and call this place their home, Syracuse. Well, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a beautiful day. Leave your comments and suggestions. Thank you for tuning in. Time for me to tune out.